Yes, sir, we promised you a great main event tonight.
Andres, a giant.
Hulkamania is running wild.
My God, what a run! It's not over. The world is watching.
At the real deal now. Gonna kick this sorry ass out on the street.
How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Lowdown Show, episode 110, right here on No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast, your Canadian wrestling podcast that talks about the WWE and no holds barred on anything we say, pun intended. I am your host, as always, the self-proclaimed greatest host, Kyle Masters, and every week on the Lowdown Show, I am now joined only by my co-host. He is the host that runs the West Coast, Hollywood, Michael Chow. What is going on, Michael?
Oh, hey, I'm here. Yep, I'm on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yep.
and
last standing match between me and Brian, and well, I guess you know who won. Yes. I'm here.
So before we get into anything, guys, I want to address this right now. I was trying to get the words of how I want to say this and how I want to put this together, but I feel like you fans out there deserve to hear this. So if you guys missed the show last week, if you haven't, go check it out. It's live on the channel, episode 109. Myself and our previous co-host, Brian, had a bit of an argument, I guess, or a differences in a way of our opinions on the product and the WWE main roster product. And I like a little friendly competition. Not competition, but I like people have their own opinions. We have our own opinions, and I respect people's opinions. Last week, I think it took it to another level, and we kind of didn't see eye to eye, and it was in my eyes, it was very, very unprofessional, and I don't think you guys out there deserve to hear anything like that. And it is what it is. Brian left in the middle of or near the end of the podcast. Myself and Michael have tried to reach out to Brian over the past week, and I swallowed my pride. I tried to reach out to him and say, like, do you still want to be on the show? He hasn't answered any of us. It is what it is. Like I said, people have their own opinions. I respect that, but you got to learn to handle it when it comes to a podcast and professional platform, where you can't be stuff like this can't be happening. So I didn't want to go and blow it up more than it already was. So again, I want to say I do apologize to you fans out there that had to go through that and to listen through that. A lot of you reached out to me and asked if I was all right. I really do appreciate that, and a lot of you have reached out to me and said you love that, but it's not what I really want the show to be about. I know it's awesome, like hearing some friendly, differences here and there, but I think that was just another level and a little bit way too far. So it is what it is. I'm fine with me and Michael, and Michael's fine with just going with both of us on the podcast from now on. We will sort of still recap the main roster a little bit.
Oh man!
Just a
do you have to?
Just to pick. I like nitpicking. That's a me thing. I like nitpicking.
The spirit of Brian lives on,
I guess. Anyways, I like nitpicking, but yeah. I know, Michael, you feel the same. Like the show must go on. It is
exactly
what it is, right?
If I could throw in my 2 cents, because I was actually kind of very quiet on what went down last week, but it's like you say, it is what it is. But I don't mean to talk down on Brian, and I don't mean to take jabs. This is my honest opinion. Brian has a problem fit. He has a problem fit. But if you're going to be in this type of work, podcasting, announcing, or something to do with this, if you really can't take criticism, such as people disagreeing with you, then you really should rethink getting into this type of profession. If you're going to get really, butt hurts about someone disagreeing with you, and disagreement, sure. If you don't want to be on the show anymore, that's fine. But I really don't like how it went down. I just think walking out on the show was very disrespectful. And he didn't just walk out on us; he walked out on the fans, and I just thought that was just really rude. And I'm just gonna end it with a quote from a great man. You know, when to sum up everything, a quote from a great man, Brian Hart. We didn't screw Brian Hart. Brian Hart screwed Brian Hart.
Oh my God!
Bye, Brian.
And like I said, yeah, it is what it is. People have their opinions, and again, I respect people's opinions. But when it gets to a certain point and it crosses that line, in a line of work that we're doing, we're trying to be as professional as we can. You can't go that far. So it is what it is. We tried to reach out. It's not like we didn't try. He hasn't answered any of us. It is what it is. We're fine with rolling with the two of us. I have been reached out by other people that want to try to take his place. To those people, kindly be patient. We are working things out here and trying to rewrite the show, myself and Michael. But some big things are coming to the podcast. Me and Michael have been talking a lot over the past week on what to do with the show, so stay tuned for that. But the show will go on. We're going to recap the main roster, very tiny, little nitpick here and there. Our main focus obviously will be NXT. A lot happened in NXT this week, so.
Hey, maybe if we're lucky, we might be able to get Renee Young to replace Brian. You know, she's doing some announcing
she's
work. So
now.
Renee Young, come on to the show. Come on.
Right?
You're invited.
And then today we'll also do the fan tweets at the end of the show. Like I said, I want to rewrite the podcast so we can fit in some other segments. So bear with us as we go through this. But this episode is going to go ahead as planned. If you guys want to listen to the show, we are available on Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Spreaker. Spreaker is a glorious podcast app that is available for all Android and Apple devices. You can chat with us live on the air, as I can see people in the chat right now. We have Tiffany from That Ass Podcast and Datila. As always, thank you for joining the chat. You can also listen to previous episodes of the podcast on there. If you're a YouTube kind of person, youtube.com/NHBWR, so we can find all our podcast episodes on there. I really want to add more to that, so there's probably going to be more added to the YouTube channel. I'm still working on what to do with that. I know that our big predictions episode will likely be on YouTube Live, because I still want to do some content on YouTube as well as Spreaker. So you can go check us out on there. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can get all notification updates when the podcast is posted into your mailbox. And before we go on the show, we have our two sponsors. Well, at least or one of our sponsors, but I will mention the other one. ExtremeWrestlingShirts.com. Guys, go check them out. They specialize in WWE products, and they have T-shirts, or pendants, anything you can ask for. This website has it, and it's from the WWE. It's not WWE shop license, but it is their own licensing and branding. It is top quality. I can assure you that. I've ordered from this place a million times. And guys, for you, if you want to save 10% on your order, use the code NOHOLDS on checkout, and you will save 10% on your order. And one lucky fan a month will win a special prize from ExtremeWrestlingShirts.com. So go check them out. Also, go check out WrestleRumble.com. Guys, they do a fantastic pick'em contest every single WWE pay-per-view. It is really cheap to enter, and the prizes are fantastic. You can win cold, hard money, cash for these pick'em contests, and they have a special one for SummerSlam. Each ballot is $3. You can win a replica, custom-made, the Winged Eagle WWF Championship. So go check them out at WrestleRumble on Twitter and WrestleRumble.com. So now that that's all out of the way, and he had to make my important announcement at the beginning, guys, just regarding last week's show. The show must go on, Michael. The show must go on.
Yeah, you can nickname this show the Brian Memorial Podcast Show. So
God.
The show must go.
I think we just need to forget about it and move on.
I'm sorry. The guy walked out on the show. I'm sorry. The jabs will go on. Sorry, Brian. You don't like it? Tough. You're no longer here.
Yeah,
we get to take shots.
Or no holds barred. I guess I could approve that. But I'm just gonna let it be. You know, again, just. He has his own opinions. People love, and that's why I don't get, like, yeah, people have their opinions, but when you can back up the main roster, especially after this week, I don't know how you can sit there and back up the main roster. What we got on Monday Night Raw this week was piss poor. I wouldn't doubt if they had really low ratings this week. Like, it was really, really, really bad. Like, worse than, I think this might be the worst episode this summer, Michael. I honestly do.
Oh, this summer, yeah. But dude, this was bad. I don't know what else to say. How many times do we have to keep seeing this? It seems like I'm seeing the same match every single week, and I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm glad I don't have to watch it. Brian still watches it, but I'm glad I don't have to watch it.
I watched the highlights. Like, I read the results first, and I'm like, you kidding me? This can't be right. I watched the the highlights on YouTube. I'm going, oh my god, this was actually very bad. One, we had a crying Paul Heyman. That's the big joke right there.
Oh my
We had
gosh.
Paul Heyman crying. Two, I can understand women in the main event. It is what it is. But when you give us a match like Ronda Rousey against Alicia Fox, how is that even close to a believable main event?
Well, hey, they had to put Alicia Fox in the main event because Fox just paid $1 billion to SmackDown Live. They got to promote the Fox brand by having Alicia Fox in the main event.
God.
Next week, it's going to be Alicia Fox versus Roman Reigns, baby. Number one contendership.
God.
And they got to do it if they want to beat Carmella
What is this
and
booking?
go on to get that title shot, baby.
Anyways, and I'll give it to Alicia Fox. She's a good wrestler. Like I'll give her craft in the ring is actually pretty good. The way she's booked is piss poor. Like she shows up once in a while, and it's just like, why even bother showing up? I don't understand. And then she gets pretty much buried by Ronda Rousey here.
It was, because I don't know if you heard about it, but I know that there was even a video of Alicia Fox getting into a public argument with Ronda Rousey's husband. And I was like, oh man, she's probably gonna get fired. But yeah, I wonder if that heat was kind of brought into the ring. If Ronda Rousey was a little bit rougher than she should, and
she has a strong style, to put it that way. She's got the not like the actual Japanese strong style, but she's very very hard in the ring. If that makes any sense, like she doesn't hold back at all.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been seeing people all over Twitter talking about saying, God, it's crazy how much Ronda Rousey is light years ahead of Alexa Bliss, and she just got in here. She just got in the company. Like Ronda's not afraid to take a bump. Alexa's afraid to take a bump. So,
oh yeah, absolutely. It fits her persona, being this rough, tough. It fits her very well. But she's basically Brock Lesnar. I mean, except she actually wrestles on Raw.
And speaking of Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, I kid you not, the count should be right or close to. He was in at least 6 to 7 segments on Raw this week. If you Kool-Aid drinkers out there sit there and tell me it's not all about Roman, I don't know what show you're actually watching, because literally the Roman agenda that they keep bullshit pushing every single week was the worst it's ever been this week.
Can I just say, there was a quote from Roman Reigns that whoever came up with this line deserves to be dragged out to the street and shot. It was one of the worst lines I've ever heard. I've seen some cringe stuff on WWE, but this seriously took the cake. And it was when Roman Reigns said, and Kyle, I don't know if you heard it, but get ready to cringe mania. He said, and I quote, if you kick the big dog out, who is going to be here to protect the yard? I was like, what the hell was that?
Case and point. If the Roman agenda is not being forced down our throats, I don't know what is.
That may have been one of the worst lines I've ever heard. If you kick the big dog out, who's going to protect the yard? What the hell?
It's pathetic.
Oh
man.
my gosh.
Everyone
Only
is taking
Vince.
a back seat.
Only
Everyone
Vince.
is taking a back seat and feeding off the crumbs at Roman Reigns' table. And Tiffany said it right in the chat. # summer scam. It's a scam. We're getting all rematches from Extreme Rules or other matches that literally plainly don't make sense, and I'm not interested in at all. And isn't SummerSlam supposed to be one of the big 4 pay-per-views? It does not feel this feels like a B-level
Exactly.
pay-per-view that's going to be way too goddamn long.
It's very ironic that SmackDown Live's, their build to SummerSlam is actually a lot better than Raw, and there's no SmackDown people on the poster. If you've seen the poster, it's Alexa Bliss, Ronda Rousey, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar. It's an all Monday Night Raw poster. What the hell was this?
And the show is being planned for 7 freaking hours. 7 hours.
Oh, man. I don't know what to
How
say.
am I going to endure this pay-per-view? If I'm working, you know what? I won't be upset. I will work my shift. I don't care. If I'm missing SummerSlam, so be it. All I care about is I have TakeOver off. That's the main thing for me. Main thing right there is TakeOver, and I cannot wait for TakeOver, as we'll get into the more of a clear picture on the TakeOver card with the NXT review today. Tiffany is actually going to TakeOver, and sweet of her, she's making a lowdown show poster for us. So
Nice.
Tiffany, thank you. That's very, very kind of you. We do appreciate that. But yeah, so Raw, again, was actually the worst Raw that I've read and seen highlights for. We had Roman Reigns in like 6 segments. We had the same rinse and repeat nonsense throughout the entire show. Like, you can't get invested with Monday Night Raw. I can't sit there and enjoy the show. It's a snooze fest. Like, I can't.
We keep getting the same matches, and not only that, we're getting the same matches at the pay-per-view.
And I understand, it continues a feud, but it's going nowhere with these matches. It's literally just rinse and repeat. I understand if it was getting somewhere, like it was intensifying a feud, but it's not. It's not doing anything.
I don't understand. I really don't. I mean, this is not favoritism at all. At least NXT, they have different people wrestle different people. Like EC3 versus Kona freaking Reeves for no reason, but it's something different. We're not going to see EC3 versus who's someone he keeps taking on. I don't know. So Raul Mendoza every single week.
Because it made sense because they had that little backstage interaction, even though the feud was mainly Velveteen Dream, EC3. There was that little altercation that led to that match. When you look at the main roster and they do something random like that, it's like, why? Why are these two having a match with each other? There's no story behind it. There's like, and you look at Raw, AOP and Titus Catering. Why those two feuding? How does AOP go from being like a really dominant tag team to putting themselves in every single title match in NXT to, oh, hey, we're going to get to the main roster, but fuck the titles. We're going to go after Titus Catering because that makes sense. How does that make sense? How does a dominant team and a dominant force like the Authors of Pain pick out Titus Catering of all teams to pick on to establish themselves on Monday Night Raw? It doesn't make any sense.
If it's not building towards something, why can't I see AOP versus Heath Slater and Rhino? Why can't I see AOP versus who else is on there? The Ascension. All right, I don't know why I have to see freaking the same teams take each other on every single week. Riot Squad versus Hug and Boss Connection. I'm looking at you, but why? Why?
Michael, I think
this is why
laziness.
I don't watch.
It's laziness because if they really wanted to invest in it, they would, it would be a good feud. It would be. You mentioned it. The Ascension and AOP would actually, if they actually took their time and invested into that tag team, didn't have to be for the belt. They can have a solid grudge feud, and they could put it at the beginning of the match or the card or a pre-show match. But you're invested in it because they put the time and work into building a story for them. Like, they both came from the same crop. They both came from NXT. Both were dominant NXT coming up. And they want to establish, like, look, you guys are basically the same as us. Let's see who's the better team. Mm-hmm. Like, they could do so much, but they don't.
I don't care for the guy, but I'm just saying, what was the point of getting rid of Paul Ellering if literally the AOP's doing nothing? You might as well just had Paul Ellering just stay with them until they decide to do something with them. But I don't know. Maybe that might get managed by Paul Heyman. That's why. But dude, it's
just sad. I can't get invested with Raw. You can't get invested in any characters. You watch NXT, you're literally invested into every single person in that ring. Whatever match it is, you're invested into it, and you're invested into the character and the storyline that they've been building. With the WWE, you can't. It's literally impossible because again, it goes all in circle right back to the Roman agenda. It's all about Roman Reigns. No one else. Everyone feeds off the scraps at his table. They don't give a fuck about anybody else. Don't tell me I'm wrong. They do not give a flying fuck about anybody else. If they did, they wouldn't be putting Finn Balor and Baron Corbin in the same goddamn match again.
I mean, we almost got Roman multiple times. He was almost in, not to jump the gun, he's in a match at the beginning of Raw. He takes down the Constable. He's like punching him backstage. Like, I don't understand. Isn't Constable Corbin in like a position of power? But he keeps allowing Roman Reigns to like sucker punch him and nothing happens. I don't get that. But he was almost in a tag match later on, which I was a little bit pissed off because I actually wanted Tyler Breeze to team up with Seth Rollins. But it's just, I don't understand.
Michael, I want to hold you there. You mentioned authority figure. Are we made to forget what Brock Lesnar did to Kurt Angle last week? Was there did they mention anything about repercussions this week? Why is he not suspended?
I assumed that they were literally going to be like, okay, Brock Lesnar's not going to show up. And I said, well, this is their reasoning for him not showing up. They're going to suspend him, right? But they literally said, he's not here. They're not going to do anything about it. I think Roman Reigns came out here and say, you better not suspend him because of that F5. And I'm like, what was the point of him F5ing Kurt Angle last week? That doesn't make any sense.
Suspend him, they can't suspend anybody else for anything anymore. Because then it just doesn't make any sense.
But to be fair, Ronda Rousey broke Stephanie McMahon's arm literally the day after WrestleMania, and nothing happen. And then Stephanie comes out here like she's a freaking baby face. It's freaking roller coaster ride. And she announces this big women's pay-per-view, which I'm totally fine with. But my thing is, like, what is Stephanie? Is she a heel? Is she a baby face? She does all this heel stuff. She doesn't show up. And anything that involves the women, she comes out here and she's like, oh, we're going to do this for the women. And I'm making the big announcements, okay? Love me because I'm a babyface tonight. But next week, I'm going to call in on a pretend telephone and screw someone over.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's just
My goodness. Roller coaster logic.
Roller coaster. And it comes to full circle. I don't understand how it's all about Roman Reigns. And the one thing I want to point out that fellow podcaster JD from New York pointed out, and I've seen this when he talked about in his podcast. I went and looked on Twitter, and it's true. I'm sure you've seen the footage, Michael, of what happened at a past live event this weekend with Roman Reigns and the special needs child. When he took off his glove, he gave it to him, made his day, and him, Seth Rollins, and the child did the Shield pose. He was an honorary Shield member for that, like a photo pose. That's awesome. That's amazing. It warms my heart too. Like I love when WWE does shit like that. Like it's good. What I didn't like is what JD pointed out and actually saw it. It's truth. Michael, I kid you not, people were quote retweeting this and saying, "How can people hate Roman Reigns when he does stuff like this?"
If I can be perfectly honest, by the way, I just want to point out, literally while you were saying this statement, the one thing that hit my mind is I'm pretty sure you've seen the GIF or even the clip when Roman Reigns was shaking everyone's hand at ringside, and there's that one woman that basically took the handshake away.
Oh yeah, people were butthurt over that, but people were saying that. Okay, go ahead.
By the way, I just want to say Roman Reigns took it. He actually smiled afterwards. He took it very well. Okay, if it was me and I was a professional wrestler, I'd probably be a little bit pissed. But he took it with he took it with stride. But I just want to say, he is a professional. He gets it all the time. Let's face it. He gets booed.
This is not why we hate him. This is what the people are not getting. This has nothing to do with the reason on why we hate him. And literally, they are the cause of the problem on why we hate Roman. They are literally one of the main sources because his fan base is completely... I'm sorry for you people that listen that are Roman fans. You guys are completely idiotic if you think this is the reason why we hate... Or this is not a reason why we shouldn't hate Roman Reigns. It has nothing to do with him or the person or whatever, Mr. Annoy, whatever his name is, it has nothing to do with him. For one, he's doing his job. He's in a position as a top guy in the company. He has to do that stuff. That's in his it's in his job description, JD would say. And he's right. It's literally he has to do stuff like this if he's going to be the top guy. We don't hate him because of this. We hate him because of the character of Roman Reigns and how he portrays it and how he is booked. These are the reasons why we hate Roman Reigns and how he's shoved down our throats. Has nothing to do with what he does for the company when stuff like this comes out.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree. I've said it all the time. Roman Reigns as a person and as a wrestler, he's fine, but sometimes I honestly do feel bad for him. I always use this as an example. He's doing nothing wrong, and it's really he's not a top guy to the effect of like someone like John Cena or Undertaker who could possibly say, no, I don't want to do this to creative, and then they step back. Roman Reigns, basically, he's not really there yet, and whatever they give him, he takes. He wants to remain the top guy. And once again, I'm not backing up Roman Reigns. I just have to say you really have to see where he's coming from. If you're an up-and-comer from NXT and Vince McMahon goes up to you and says, you are the guy, we are pushing you to the moon, who here is not going to say, you are a freaking liar if any superstar says, no, I'm going to do the stuff for the fans. I'm not going to take this big push. I'm going to remain at the bottom and work my way up. No. If the freaking head of the company says, you're our next guy, trust what we're going to do, and you're going to be the top guy making the big money and you can provide for your family, dude, anyone is going to take it. Okay? So I just want to say, once again, I don't hate Roman Reigns. It's without his reach. It's what creative is doing to him. But you have to understand, people. He's got to do it.
We don't mind Roman Reigns. If he was pushed the right way and he was not force scripted and all that stuff, we wouldn't have a problem with Roman Reigns being the top guy. Hell, he'd be a great top guy in the company if he wanted to expand his craft in the ring, like to what wrestling is becoming today. Not saying like he has to jump around the ring and do some high flying moves, but he can, and he is a good wrestler. I don't think he's one of the top 5 wrestlers in the world. The guy could improve his craft a little bit because literally he's the same generic wrestler that anybody can make in a 2K game. Like doesn't have an interesting moveset whatsoever. He can improve his craft. But like if they was pushed the right way, given freedom on the mic, I would have zero problem with Roman Reigns. I think he'd be even if he was booed, he'd be booed in the right way. The boos he's getting now is go away heat. It's not we love to hate him heat like we do Tommaso Ciampa. Roman Reigns' heat is go away heat. It's the boos that we do not want to see this guy in the main event anymore. You've ruined him. You've ruined the character. You've tried to push him for the last 5 years. It's not worked. Now you're just making him into a big crybaby. He's not the big dog. It's sickening. You're making Michael Cole sound like a freaking robot on commentary when he's every single time he sees it, like the big dog. Like that's enough. That's enough. We don't need this shit.
Is there anyone more polarizing than Roman Reigns? Ugh. How do you sleep at night?
That's what I mean. This is why we hate Roman Reigns. It has nothing to do with what he does for the community and for the WWE outside or stuff like that he did at the live event. Nothing to do with that. These people are also the main source of the problem, Michael. They're why Roman Reigns is getting a bad name because his fans are seriously so dumb. And I got into a fight already with one of them on Twitter a couple weeks ago. I showed you, I DM'd you all the messages. Like they are the main source of the problem. So... Again, Raw this week, absolutely trash. There was nothing else to talk about that was interesting. SmackDown keeps improving week by week. It's been becoming more decent and more watchable. Although I did miss this week. I had to catch up on the highlights. I was busy on Tuesday. I heard it was really good. I heard the tag team match with the Bar was actually very excellent. And the New Day winning. It makes sense. I mean, they never had a title match one-on-one with the Bludgeon Brothers. And it's really tough for a heel versus heel. That's something the main roster doesn't do a lot, Michael. It's tough. I understand that they never do heel versus heel. They could, but they won't. So New Day, was the odd one out to win that tournament. It was kind of obvious.
For me, it should have been Sanity. I mean, it just looks.
But they brought them up as a heel. Great. That was the problem. They could have brought them up as a babyface, but no one knew him. So they had to be brought up as a heel because no one watches NXT in the main roster anymore. It's literally 85 to 90% casuals that don't know anything.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do want to put out a highlight. I got to tell you, R-Truth is so good. I got to tell you, I never liked the Golden Truth, but R-Truth with Ty Dillinger, it works so well. Put these two as a tag team. Yeah, exactly. And I'm pretty sure you saw the clip. It was just so funny for R-Truth to say, Shinsuke, I want a shot at your title. And Shinsuke's like, how are you going to do that? And he's like, I'm going to do what everyone else is doing by beating Carmella. And it just works. Ty Dillinger's facial reactions was just excellent. I hope they're going somewhere with it.
I just want to see him wrestle. But the SmackDown tag division is already stacked. That's why I don't see them escalating any. Unless they had plans. Like, you can't see them in a title picture anytime soon because if New Day are the ones who dethrone the Bludgeon Brothers, then that won't happen. But if they are unsuccessful, then I could potentially maybe see an R-Truth Ty Dillinger run. But it's really tough, Michael. It's very, very. They're mostly likely just the comedic relief. They're like the B team, mm-hmm. Even though the B team did win the titles.
They're the new fashion files, except you got to have every single week where R-Truth, he's like not getting something, and Ty Dillinger, he's the guy who's the logical one, and yeah, it works on its own.
Randy Orton still, heel Orton is great. Like, I love heel Orton better than any other, like, Benner babyface Orton, and his promo work is better. It used to be a little bit more monotone and boring, even as a heel. He is breaking that fourth wall, so to say. So good for Randy Orton, and embracing the heel character. It looks like he's embracing it a lot more than he ever has. I think in the past with him, Michael. I think he's embracing more of the heel because he's been waiting for it for a long time. So now he's putting all effort into it, which is great. At his point in his career, it's great. He's actually putting a lot of effort into that.
I like his new gimmick where he basically says that he used to be the legend killer, but now that he's the legend, he's now going to kill everyone else, everyone that the fan likes. It'd be so funny if Randy introduces the Randy Orton top 10, which is all the people he's going to kill. So that'd be good. Bring back the Randy Orton top 10. top
Cupid
10
Girl
list.
125 joined the chat. What's going on? She's late. That's okay. Cupid Girl 125. Thank you for tuning in.
Well, hey, at least Cupid Girl's showing up on the podcast, unlike someone else we know. Jab, jab, jab.
Anyways, one thing I want to kind of nitpick on for SmackDown Live, Michael, is it's tough to see farther ahead of SummerSlam with this whole Miz and Daniel Bryan thing, because I don't know what's going on with Daniel Bryan's contract. We don't know what rumors are true or not that are getting circulated out there, whether he did sign or not. I don't know how to feel about it. It's good. I love what they're doing it. They're making it so personal, and they're doing a lot of outside stuff. That's great. It's just I would be more invested in it if I knew what the future was going to hold for these two. I'm at a wall now. I can't climb over unless I'm very sure. I can't be fully invested into it.
If I were to make a educated guess, and hashtag Mockshell Creative, usually it's pretty good. I would probably have to say that the match, not to jump the gun at the prediction show, but I'm saying the match is going to end very oddly. And I just heard news that Nikki Bella and Brie Bella will be doing SummerSlam signings. So I'm thinking maybe somehow Maurice gets involved and Brie Bella comes out, and this will set up a mixed tag team between the two sometime down the line. And hopefully it's better than the John Cena and Nikki Bella versus Miz and Maurice match. But
they could probably do that at the Super Show in October. I know October, there's two shows. There's the women's pay-per-view, and there's the Super Show Hell in a Cell in September. It's really tough. That's what I mean. Like there's such a wall that I can't climb over just yet because it's tough to see a future, because this literally is a WrestleMania feud, and the fact that they're doing it now, it's just I know it's tough to try to keep these two away from each other when they're on the same brand. I don't know. I love it. I love what they're doing with it. I'm so hesitant to be fully invested into it.
I do want to say that The Miz is doing very, very well right now, and if they want to set up The Miz versus AJ Styles after this, I'd be totally game for that. Or, it's one or two things. If it's one or the other could win the match, and what I'm trying to say is, let's say Samoa Joe wins, then maybe Daniel Bryan might win, and that could set up those two. Mm-hmm. It's basically either or. If one person wins on the other side, then the other person from the other match could face the other. So AJ Styles versus The Miz, or Samoa Joe versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE title.
Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, it is what it is. That feud literally builds itself. I guess I just waiting for them to wrestle. They really don't need to do anything more now. They're at the tip. They just need to get the match done and give us a good show. So although it won't be the main event, even though it should be, it is what it is with that. But Michael, we are 32 minutes into the show, and yes, that ring bell means we're done talking about the main roster, and we have to move on to bigger things because NXT this week was huge. A lot of stuff went down NXT this week. It was literally a jam-packed episode. So without further ado, we are going to talk about the A show in WWE, and yes, the NXT chants are raining down on us. NXT, and what a show!
NXT,
this week,
NXT.
Michael. We got a lot of stuff afterwards with the WWE YouTube exclusives. So we had two of them, which we'll talk to when we get to it. But NXT this week really, really big. It opened up with the interesting match. Amber Nova, her name was.
Oh, baby. This girl. Oh, man. Sign this
remember,
woman.
Did they mention her? Is she going to be in the Mae Young Classic? I don't remember if they mentioned anything about that.
No, but I don't know what type of gimmick she...
talent then.
Yeah, well, she has her own entrance music, which is weird, because usually the jobbers, they're just in the ring already. Right. But she has her own entrance music, and I think the commentators brought up the fact that her father was like a mechanic and that she loves her car. I'm like, what is this? What is this, a Fast and the Furious gimmick? But okay. Yeah. But yeah.
So she faced Nikki Cross. The crowd was so behind Nikki Cross, excited to see her wrestle again. The Nikki's going to kill you chance. Really was just like a crush the developmental talent match. And we got the swinging neckbreaker for the win. 1, 2, 3. Still wondering what they're doing with Nikki Cross. I know they wanted to, Triple H really wanted to keep her down NXT before the whole Sanity call up, so I don't know what the future brings for Nikki Cross. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I'm a little bit confused because Kyle, I'm pretty sure you saw at least the picture. Nikki Cross was present during the huge announcement of the all-women pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah,
she was
that's right.
standing. She was there with the Raw roster. She was there with the SmackDown Live roster to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't watch SmackDown anymore. Did she debut on SmackDown and I not notice? But she was there, and I always assumed that she was going to be brought up. But I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe they're just, giving her a last hurrah. I don't think they're going to do something big like a last match. Like they're going to label it as a last match. I don't know. It's weird to see what we're doing with Nikki Cross. I know these are tapings that taped ahead of time, and yeah, it was weird that Nikki Cross was front and center during that whole announcement for the women's pay-per-view. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with her. So we had a vignette for Keith Lee debut. That happened NXT this week, which was huge. I was really anticipating for Keith Lee. I've watched a lot of his indie matches, so I was really excited for this. And he was the vignette was him wanting the NXT universe to bask in my glory.
Glorious. Is he gonna get Bobby Roode's music now?
Bruh, it's exactly what I thought as soon as I heard him say this. I'm going, okay. Yes and no. So then after we had this was cool. So Ricochet comes out for a match, but ends up getting attacked from behind by Undisputed Era. Adam Cole is on the mic. He says he's not a coward, bringing up the coward chirps from at Ricochet last week, and he stands tall as the one and only North American champion. Cole says he plans on mangling Ricochet at NXT TakeOver, and that is undisputed. So
whoa, Michael Cole's son, Adam Cole, with the big words.
They're not related. Stop it.
What? Are you sure? Okay.
That's an interesting prediction. People are saying that Keith Lee is going to be the new heel, like the new Bobby Roode heel of NXT. I can see that. I think they have big plans for Keith Lee in the future. We'll see what happens with him. But he's very fresh, so we'll see. But yeah, this was sick. I'm so pumped for Ricochet and Adam Cole to go at it. Michael, that's literally going to be one of the matches of the night. Like, I'm expecting standing ovations, maybe at least 3 during this match.
Mm-hmm.
I
also noticed that the entire members of Undisputed Era. So, Kyle O'Reilly or Bobby Fish? I keep getting the two mixed up. Who's the one with the injury?
Bobby Fish. I haven't read any updates with him yet.
But he was out there because he's usually out in crutches. He was out there with the knee brace. I think this guy might be close to coming back. So,
and that's going to be a great story because I think they want to roll 3-person team. I don't think they're going to continue. A lot of people think they might just continue 4-person team and just do Freebird World, or maybe they lose the titles. I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if they're going to do the whole kicking out of someone. Maybe it's got to come down to Roddy and Adam Cole again. And who's going to be the leader of the Undisputed Era.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens with that. When that develops, I'm thinking maybe sometime after Brooklyn we get a some sort of direction, or maybe after War Games. So we'll see what happens with that. But lots of good things for Undisputed coming up. We also had a backstage interview, Vanessa Bourne talking about her upcoming match with my girl Taynara Conti. And it was a Mae Young qualifying match. This was that threw me off. I was like, oh. This is out of the blue, so I guess there is. I don't know if there's more than one spot. Maybe there was one spot left, and they had to qualify for it. So
how come everyone else is just in it, but these two had to qualify? And they were actually in last year, so if anything, they shouldn't have to qualify. The newbies should have to qualify.
I think it's just to promote the Mae Young Classic. I think that was it. But I'm just glad my girl Taynara was on TV this week. Bourne says she doesn't want to deprive the NXT universe of the Vision, whatever the hell that is, and she plans on taking the final spot in Mae Young Classic. And me and Cappy were watching NXT at the same time. What the hell, man? Like, I can't get behind Vanessa Bourne. Cappy put it right. She's like, she is so plain and generic. Like, there's nothing behind Vanessa Bourne to get you into her. Like, she's just so, like, even, like, read that promo, we're just like, nothing, like, I was like, nothing drove me to think that she was going to win the match.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just being a little snobby brat, and there's a lot of those, so we don't need another one. So anyways, after this, we had an impromptu match, Cassius Ohno versus Adrian Huade, I think Juaud. I forget how they pronounced it. Anyways, he's part of the Black Belt Army with Taynara. So as soon as I seen him, I'm going, damn, Black Belt Army is real. And if you guys don't know, the Black Belt Army is a faction that's been going around the NXT live events. So I'm excited for that too. And Black Belt Britney Spears, come on, chick's an actual legit judo black belt. Give her some cred. Anyways, Cassius Ohno and these guys. I mean, this guy, a lot of people were pointing it out because of his attire and his look. I mean, it sucks he didn't have the hair for it, but he looked exactly like, was it Raikou from Street Fighters? Like, he literally looked exactly like he had the same exact attire and like his stance. I'm like, oh my god, I see it. But he actually held his own for a bit in this match. He actually looked pretty good. He's very athletic and agile. I love his strikes. They all landed. There was no botching at all. But obviously they're going to put Cassius Ohno over in this one.
At the end, I'm always thinking that Cassius Ohno should turn heel because there really is, I feel bad for a guy, there really is nowhere else for this guy to go, and turning heel would be a change of pace. Towards the end, I thought he was going to turn heel, but then he started smiling. I'm like, oh, well, maybe it's not going to happen. But he has become very more vicious in his matches. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. I'm very sure Cassius Ohno will turn heel someday down the line.
Mm-hmm. So this was, and he won with his knockout, I guess you call forearm shot to the side of my boy Adrian's head, and that will do it. And we'll move on from here. We got to experience the dream here.
Okay, I actually had a problem with this segment, but let's go over it.
Why?
I did not like this segment. Should I go first? I have to say,
I'll let you go first with this one.
Before I get criticized on the live chat, I just want to say this had nothing to do with Velveteen Dream and EC3. They were fine, but the way they booked this was not fine. And if I were to sum it up, this sounds like something they would do on the main roster, okay? This was so cheesy. It was just it was like I was watching an episode of Miami Vice. What was this? And then the big payoff at the end was he tossed them into the pool. What type of build was this? They didn't go out the fact that, hey, that EC3 and Velveteen Dream have kind of similar, they have similar not similar gimmicks, but they act kind of, eccentric. Yeah. And the fact that Velveteen Dream kind of abandoned EC3 during that match, they didn't play off any of that. They were just playing off all these cheesy, what was this? The point of the segment where I knew this was going south is that they were walking toward the pool, and EC3 looked like Velveteen Dream was going to push him into the pool. And he goes, whoa. Oh, I thought you were going to push me in the pool. I'm like, oh, my God, this is so kiddish. This is so cheesy.
I love the line at the end, though. Dude, it's 3 feet deep.
All right, I'll give it to them, Dad.
That was the perfect line.
It should have ended with just him just tossing him in the pool. But there's only one part I liked is when EC3 said, you know what? I had planned on coming over here to beat you up, but I'm just gonna do that at NXT TakeOver. Now that part I liked, but everything else, I'm sorry, it was just way too cheesy and way too main roster for my taste.
Do you think it could have been? They could have done like a CGI thing and been like in like a big purple cloud somewhere.
Okay, that's going way too far.
I mean, this was good for what they had and what they have production wise around the place that they tape all this, right? I thought it was all right. I wasn't a big fan of it either, but I thought it was all right. I think we're still going to get something next week to push this match. I think they're really behind this. So, like, the 3 highlighted matches at TakeOver are just so huge. And the 4, all the matches, like I said before, you're invested in every single character in every single match. And this is another one I'm very invested in. I know our girl, Koopa Girl, is not really a fan of this. 2 of her favorites going at each other, but Koopa Girl, appreciate for the wrestling craft you're going to get in that ring. They're going to put on a show at TakeOver Brooklyn 4. So, moved on from this, we had the big debut against Keith Lee and against this guy, Marcel Bartel, however you say his last name. This German kind of royalty gimmick he's got. He was I've seen him at an NXT live event, and his mic skills, I sucks. I really wish we had heard him talk or something. His mic skills are really good. I think there's a lot of potential with this guy as a very good, credible heel. He's got kind of a Finn Balor look to him, like the same attire and the same physique. You kind of get the same Finn Balor vibe when you see his craft in the ring. But the crowd gave a nice warm welcome to Keith Lee in his debut. Very, very behind him. A lot of Keith Lee chants. And the freaking, oh, bask in his glory. Like, that's perfect. But there's actually a good match. They actually and this is why I think they have a lot of potential in Marcel, and they actually have a lot of faith in him. They actually let him get a lot of strikes in and a lot of moves in, more than what you would see in a typical NXT debut where the guy would just squash the person, right?
See, I actually had a problem with that. I did not like that. I thought that was the wrong booking for this match. I didn't like the fact that he got too much offense in. They need to promote the fact that Keith Lee is this dominant force, this big powerhouse and whatnot. I don't know if they're going that way. No, but not even that. It's just like, I mean, I don't know if you're really trying to promote this guy. The jobber got way too much offense in. And like, to give an example, if you saw Braun Strowman taking on James Ellsworth, if you saw James Ellsworth start kicking Braun Strowman's ass,
I don't know if we can compare Marcel to Ellsworth though, because Marcel, I think he's been putting his work in live events, and he's actually been showing a lot of good potential. So I think I know it's probably not the right booking. Maybe they could have done this against someone else. Maybe it could have been Marcel against an enhancement talent. I'll kind of agree with you with that one. But this is a good match.
There's offense, and then there was way too much offense to a point where I'm like, is Keith Lee going to win this match, or what is going on here?
It did
too much
confuse me. I was like, oh, what's going on here? I love the one Marcel when he catches the people, or he yells 9. And sometimes when he kicks, that's great. I mean, it fits the German character. At least he plays it up even in the ring. So this is good. But we got the fireman's carry into a jackhammer. 1, 2, 3. I would have loved to see Keith Lee's aerial dives. He's known for that in the Indies a lot. He's a really agile, big guy. There was the one part where he Irish whipped Marcel, and he came back. He literally jumped over him. Like, Marcel didn't even duck. I was like, oh, man. Like, Marcel's not the tallest guy in the world, but for a guy with Keith Lee's size to jump that high into the air, that was wow. The athleticism on this guy is incredible for a big guy, man. He's very, very agile, big guy. So I thought it was a decent debut, and we'll see what things come for Keith Lee. I don't think he's going to be at TakeOver Brooklyn 4. I think maybe we'll see his first TakeOver match probably at War Games in November.
Him being a powerhouse, there's big money with him against Lars Sullivan, so I'm pretty sure I'm calling it. We'll see Keith Lee versus Lars Sullivan in a couple of months.
Right. This was funny. I love these guys. We had another Street Profits Street Talk this week in front of this like makeshift ATM.
Why was there an ATM? I thought there was going to be some big payoff, but there was no payoff.
I was waiting for like money to squirt out or something. I was just waiting for it. But they're talking some trash about the Mighty, and making fun of their accents and saying they're going to see them in a match. And we're going to next week. Our boys of Street Profits are back in action as they take on the Mighty in tag team action.
Yes.
I'm loving it, man. The crowd at Full Sail loves these people, or loves these guys. We both love these guys. I'm loving Street Profits, man. I just hope we can get a bigger push for them, man. I think they deserve it. I think they have the crowd behind them. Montez Ford is incredible in the ring. He is so underrated in the ring. He does scream 205 Live, but I think Angelo Dawkins has also come a long way as well with his in-ring craft. So good for both of them having a match next week.
I'm very surprised they have not received a title shot at a NXT pay-per-view, and they can carry themselves. Crowd loves them. I just don't understand. Too much pumping us with AOP, but yeah, hopefully they get another title shot soon.
Yeah, their momentum was gaining at a wrong time. So now that the tag division is kind of open right now, sort of, I think they could definitely fit in after TakeOver, so we'll see. We had the Mae Young Classic qualifying match between Vanessa Bourne and my girl Tainara. I think this was actually a pretty decent match. It wasn't the greatest. I know that they're trying to promote the Mae Young Classic. I think they could have done a little bit better, but my girl Tainara's in-ring ability, man, I'll critique her a little bit. I think she could do a little bit more. I think she has the potential to expand her horizons in the ring. It looks like she's kind of holding back a little bit. But Vanessa Bourne is what it is. But this was an interesting ending. It really caught me off guard. Conti yelled something, and then she hits a rough counter and just plants Bourne. It was a counter and just plants her, and it was a quick 1, 2, 3, and I'm like, oh, okay. Was that
it was a pretty sloppy. Yeah, it was a pretty sloppy finisher. I think she was going for, if you guys know moves, it looked like that big cast move he used to do, that swinging side slam. So it is what it is. She's got a lot of work to do. And I actually have one criticism. And Kyle, I know she's your girl and all, but I don't like this new persona of hers, because if you go back and watch the last year's Mae Young Classic, they changed her entrance music to the fact where she's coming out here and seems like she's all girly. She's singing to the music. I don't like this new direction for her. I like the seriousness. Go watch the Mae Young Classic from last year. She was all business. She would come out here. She'd have a serious look. She'd bow. She would not. I think there was a point in the match where Vanessa Bourne had her in the corner and she started crying. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't understand this. I like the serious Tainara Conti. Right? I want her to seem like a serious threat where she's small, but she's like vicious. You know what I mean? But nowadays it's like she's girly and she's small, and it doesn't mix well. I like the seriousness Tainara Conti, not this new one.
The chick in Undisputed Era. Or if they're gonna go through with it and push them on TV, this black belt army that they have, they need to do something with that. I think they could be a serious threat. You know what they could do? They can have feud those three with Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, and Bianca Belair. There you go.
There you go.
And you can have a mixed tag team match with the 2 men and the women and the 2 men and the women. I think that could work. So we'll see.
Sounds good to me.
So yeah, William Regal, book it, man. Next week we're gonna get Kairi Sane versus Aaliyah. Toronto's own Aaliyah, so Canadian. Really excited for that. Always like to see my Canadian peeps in matches. And Tyler Bate's going to take on Roderick Strong one-on-one next week. See, look, every single week we're so invested into the show, and they just leave you going, oh my God, I'm so pumped for next week. We're going to see the Street Profits in action. We're going to get Kairi Sane versus Aaliyah, and now we're going to get Tyler Bate against Roderick Strong. Like, it just doesn't make you not want to miss. It doesn't make you want to miss it.
And I just want to make one thing clear. Unlike Monday Night Raw, these are not repeat matches from last week. Okay, These are people with different matches on the way to the pay-per-view. It works,
and it gets you invested into. You're invested into every character. You look at it. You're invested into the Street Profits. You're invested into if the Mighty can progress as a heel now. You're invested in Kairi Sane. Is she gonna be the one to finally take down Shayna Baszler? She's got to get through Aaliyah, who's been scratching and clawing her way to the top. You got Tyler Bate, the most insane prodigy to wrestling right now, taking on Roderick Strong, who's amazing in the ring as well. So you got all these matches you're looking forward to next week. You look at Raw, it's like, oh, what are they going to do next week? Push Roman Reigns, push Ronda Rousey, fuck everybody else. That's it. That's what you got looking forward to Raw every week. Why would I want to watch that crap?
I agree. You just saved me 3 hours, so perfect. I'm not watching Monday Night Raw, but I never did.
And this week was also interesting. I remember reading a spoiler about this, but Cain Velasquez was in the crowd, and they made a note to note he was watching, and he's expressing his interest in switching to professional wrestling. So we'll see about that. It's also announced that Tommaso Ciampa will defend his title against Aleister Black one-on-one. So this was announced at this point that Tommaso Ciampa is taking on Aleister Black one-on-one at TakeOver. So that was at that point. Yeah. So after that, we had Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano, and again, I know a lot of people I saw on Twitter, and it's sucking. Some people don't get it, and I'll understand that. This is taped. This was taped before the injury that happened on the live event, but I love what they did after to acknowledge it. So we had Aleister Black, Johnny Gargano in the main event this week. Very, very good match. The seriousness in Aleister Black's eyes. Did you see, Michael, how mad he looked when Johnny Gargano came into the ring after his entrance? Like, he didn't take his eyes off Johnny Gargano, and he just looked pissed. Like, he was so mad. So they actually
It's like Johnny said. The only reason why Tommaso Ciampa is champion is because of him. So
they actually had a decent match for the most part. I know it started at like I think it was like 8 minutes left in the show, 7 minutes left in the show. So I'm like, all right, this is obviously Ciampa's going to get involved in some way. Besides that, there was a double clothesline. They both ended up on the mat. Tommaso Ciampa ran down to the ring. I knew it, and then he tosses Gargano out of the ring. Referee calls for the DQ as Ciampa goes to work on Aleister Black, so he attacks both of them. Chaos ensues. They just start beating the whole hell out of each other. Like I think the brawl after the match was better than most of the match itself. So a bunch of referees show up. They're taking back Gargano and Ciampa, separating them. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for the theme song, and we finally get it, Michael. And William Regal's theme song. That's still the iconic theme song. It's so good, man. The guy's the best GM in history, man. I don't think there's any other GM that could touch William Regal.
I miss his old one, the old joyful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that one.
This is great though, because he's a serious NXT GM. Whenever there's chaos, he cuts the shit and fixes it. So he heads out to the stage and announces that TakeOver Brooklyn 4, it'll be Tommaso Ciampa versus Johnny Gargano versus Aleister Black for the NXT Championship in a triple threat match. But basically, he was saying he's like. Some people wouldn't allow this to continue, but I'm going to allow this. And I was like, damn. Like he just adds more and more to the GM character. I love William Regal. So again, at that point, we were getting a triple threat match. So and what they did for the injury angle after, they did such a good job in the backstage footage.
I thought they were simply going to say, like William Regal just says that, due to an injury, he will not be able to perform, or just a simple, not to jump the gun, that we find Aleister Black has jumped. But they got so many people involved in this. This was one of the best.
They got creative.
This was creative. And I think I know who may have done it, but why don't you go ahead and describe the scenario that went down?
So if you guys haven't seen it, it's on WWE's YouTube channel, so go check it out. William Regal's talking about what happened and about the triple threat. Some guy comes up to him and says, we need you. So there's something going on outside. You need to get a hold of this. So as he's exiting the building, all you see is Johnny Gargano entering the building. So a lot of people have to make these settle. You gotta look really in depth into this. So Johnny Gargano's coming into the building as William Regal's leaving, and he's looking down, didn't look once that William Regal just walked fast right by him. So William Regal's going out to the parking lot, and then we get another scene. We get a convertible with Undisputed Era all inside the convertible and saying, go, drive. And they drive away fast. I'm going, okay, what the fuck is actually going on here? Like, what is happening? William Regal goes over to the farthest part of the parking lot, and Aleister Black is just laid out flat there, not moving. They're calling for some help, calling for help, and we need this sorted out. Like, we need help for Aleister Black. And one thing that happened down the footage, you guys have to really look at it on the left side of the screen. The heavy machinery was taking pictures and selfie. What the fuck are they doing there?
I like how one of
Tucker
them
Knight.
Exactly. I love how one of them calls him Allie. They're like, "Oh, it's Aleister Black," and he goes, "Oh, Allie, are you okay?" I'm like, "Allie, okay."
Allie. But Aleister Black's just lied flat. I'm like, oh my god, they're actually putting a story into this and investing. This is what I mean. This is why they do everything better in NXT. They make you invested, going, okay, why the hell was Johnny Gargano walking in, not looking at William Regal? Why the hell were Undisputed Era driving out fast? Like, who did this? And we didn't see Tommaso Ciampa. We're like, okay, where's Ciampa in this now? It makes you think, right? They did such a good job. And then today they also released another video. This
More
is another
suspects.
thing that they did good.
Jesus, more suspects.
This is another
different
thing
angles.
They do. This is another thing they do that's so good, Michael. They took the time to drive William Regal outside a hospital and tape a really 30-second clip of him outside the hospital saying, I was just in the hospital with Aleister Black. Unfortunately, he will not be able to compete at NXT TakeOver 4. And because there's only two men standing, I'm going to book Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa for the NXT Championship in a last man standing match.
Ooh.
Like, it just makes sense. They do everything that makes sense. They took the time to drive William Regal to a hospital and make him stand out front just to record this clip. When you put time and effort into a storyline, it makes it good. Why can't the main roster do shit like this?
This was so good, and I don't think you mentioned the other videos, but guys, there were multiple videos with multiple clues. I'm serious. That Kyle
think I've
just
seen the
described
other
one
one.
video. What was that?
I think I seen the one, the outside one, and I saw the hospital one. I didn't see anything else. I think there was another
So
one. I missed it.
there are actually two more. You haven't seen it. You should go on YouTube and actually watch it. There are two. So what I love about it is you saw the one that Kyle just described. Then they released actually two more videos. I think they combined the videos. So if you go find it on YouTube, you guys can see both of the clips together. It is basically the scene that Kyle just described, but from different angles. So you're going to see William Regal run into heavy machinery. But in one of the videos,
Okay, I'm
he's
watching
heading-
it now. Yeah, and then there's Shayna Baszler putting her glasses on.
Shayna Baszler.
Or
we
it's
get
Marcel Battle.
Velveteen.
There he is.
There you go.
And Tommaso
was-
Ciampa just clutching the title as
There
he's
you
walking
go.
away.
We got who else? Who else are you spun? We're getting live coverage, people. Who else are you spun, Kyle?
Okay, I think I saw the Velveteen Dream. Now I'm seeing Tucker. I'm seeing Heavy Machinery. They're videotaping it. Like, what are they doing? Why are they videotaping this? I think I'm about to see another angle. I think there's Candice LeRae smiling and chatting. Like, why is she happy right now? And then there's Cassius Ohno and Kari Zane. And I'm seeing, oh, these are the Forgotten Sons. They're not saying much. This other camera's running. There's my boy Kona Reeves, the finest. The
He's
finest.
a suspect. He's a suspect now.
And then Ricochet. Okay, so wow, they did such a good job. Why can't we get this on the main roster? Why? Why?
The first video you described was good enough, but for them to go out of their way, for them behind the scenes, for them to like Triple H to say, "Hey, listen, guys, this is what's going on. This is how we're gonna reveal Aleister Black's injury, right? But we're gonna need everyone involved to get a majority of the roster involved in this scene." Which is absolutely incredible. The first video was fine with Johnny Gargano and Undisputed Era, but to get all of those superstars involved, now it's like who could have done it? Who could have done it? There are all these people out here. Even Shayna Baszler could have done it. But
Cupid Girl, is
man.
this a fact? Her thoughts is the Young Bucks were at Full Sail for their Being Elite episode. What if they super kick Aleister? Were they actually there for one of their episodes? Because if they were, I mean, I know WWE's been wanting to sign Kenny Omega and Young Bucks. They want to sign as much indie talent as possible so that the G1 Climax next year is not even close. And for you guys chirping my boy, finest Kona Reeves, how dare you? He's the finest in NXT.
No, he's the finest suspect.
I
But
love
yeah.
this guy, man. I'm sorry. I fucking love
I don't
Kona
know when
Reeves.
you're being serious and when you're not being
I
sarcastic.
absolutely love. I'm not sarcastic. I kid you not. I love Kona Reeves.
Jesus Christ. But anyway, I do have a guess, and it's actually a pretty good guess on who I believe laid out Aleister Black. Would you like to
Yes,
hear
I
it?
watch it because see, this is interesting. This is what gets you thinking, and
Oh.
makes you talk about it. If they don't do anything like this in the main roster, so I don't want to talk about the main roster. This is what it
Gotcha.
is.
So I'm gonna need you to pull up that video because it actually involves a timetable on that video. If you pull up that video you just saw once again, it actually happens at the 22-second mark. And I invite everyone out there, go on YouTube and check the video they released just like earlier today. Them showing that one video, not the first one Kyle was talking about, but the
This
one
was
with
new footage emerges. It starts with
yeah. Okay. So go ahead and watch it right
22
now, Kyle.
seconds.
At the 22-second mark, all the way in the back, you have to look all the way in the back. There is a large figure, a bald figure in a
Oh,
yellow
yeah.
shirt. I think it's Lars Sullivan. Okay, it's Lars Sullivan. If you look all the way in the back, you guys
look at that. I
really
can
have
see
to
him.
squint.
Yeah.
Yep, I think it's Lars Sullivan. Guys, don't forget Aleister Black. K-Fab broke his chin. I'm thinking he's back for revenge. You guys heard it here 1st. I saw it. I found the clue all the way in the back.
And some guy
A
in the comments
big-
actually see it. Actually, are seeing it and pointing it out.
There you go.
Yeah.
A big figure, a big bald figure in a yellow T-shirt walking away from the scene of crime. I'm calling it. It's Lars Sullivan. There you go. I may not have guessed who shot Mr.
interesting.
Burns, everyone, but I am guessing who laid out Aleister Black. And it's Lars Sullivan. It's either him or Matt Riddle. You know, whatever's good.
Matt Riddle. Hey,
It'd
that
be
could be a
good.
good
Why not?
introduction. That could be cool. But yeah, again, like we said, NXT just gets you invested every single week. When they do stuff like this, it helps. It honestly helps with the storyline and getting you invested into it. They take their time, and to do shit like this, Like, come on. How can you not be invested in NXT? And how can you not say they are the #1 show on television right now? When they do shit like this, it gets you invested every single week. Why is it not the #1 show? You can't. When people label it as a quote unquote developmental brand, I think you're smoking funny stuff because they're far from a developmental brand. They are their own show now. It used to be a developmental brand. Now they're their own thing. It's so that their takeovers surpass every single following WWE pay-per-view. It's so good. And that's why we it's the main focal point of this podcast, and what we'll be doing going from now on is reviewing NXT and giving it its credit that it should be getting every single week here on the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, let's face it, the guy who used to review the main roster is not here anymore. So I don't know why we had.
He's not even Brock Lesnar. He's not coming back. We tried, Michael. We reached out to him. That's all I'm going to say. We reached out to him. Like, it is what it is. Like, what else do we want? Like, we can't say we didn't try, right?
He's the Steve Austin of the podcast. He walked out on all of you, and there you go.
Oh, we're good. We're good now. That's okay. So let's get into the fan tweets. That's right. So we're done NXT. NXT was great. We'll get into the fan tweets now, and one comes from a person that's reached out to us, and we'll be in contact with you. The Greg Way on Twitter, at Greg Messi. I put a category for the fan tweets. How would you book the NXT TakeOver Brooklyn main event with Aleister Black out? He says, we'll have a 3-way ladder match. We'll steal the show and be 5 stars. Tough without a third person, but unless you had someone else in mind, Craig. But
yeah, I don't think he got the question, because your question was, how do you book it without Aleister Black? And he's saying triple threat.
With Aleister Black
Aleister
ladder, I think that could have been good. I think that could have been something. Datila, I'm going to try to give this a shot. Please don't be mad if I'm horrible at booking. I think I would make it an I Quit match between the two. That is not horrible, Datila. That is actually a good. I Quit match would have been precise for these two, or something. I mean, they did Last Man Standing, either or, still good. I still think the end result should be in a Hell in a Cell match, first ever NXT one, and it should be these two. These guys have been carrying a feud for 2 years now. Why not, right? So we don't even know if this is going to be the end. Maybe they're still going to be doing Johnny Gargano and Ciampa after this. Who knows? This
has to be end. You do something good way too much, people start getting bored. Okay, we do not need this to turn into the Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns of NXT. Right, okay, so move on.
Although I'm more invested in this than will I ever be against Roman and Brock. So, anyways, thank you for your prediction, Datila. So I Quit match, very interesting. Don't know if I had any more. Nope, I don't think I had more. No, I had no more. But thank you anyways, guys, for your tweets out there. Do appreciate them every single week here on the show. And if you guys want to tweet at us any of your thoughts or anything like that, every single week, use the hashtag AskNHBWP for those questions. But yeah, great episode of NXT this week. I thought it was
absolutely
good. Cupid Girl Tommaso versus Johnny 3 Stages of Hell match. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
If we were to book that 3 Stages of Hell, first stage would probably be
singles match, straight
match.
Up wrestling. Yeah.
Second match has to be hardcore. It's got to be like a tables match, or I'd say tables match. And then third one's got to be a big shebang. You do the I Quit or the Last Man Standing in the third one.
Or even Hell in a Cell.
Or Hell in a Cell. That could be the third one, yeah. If you have that's the good way to introduce a Hell in a Cell match for NXT.
Or you know what?
Before.
Since Tommaso Ciampa is now the NXT champion, could have also been TLC. Put the title above the ring. So
that could be good too. And submission. They're both good at submission. So the second one could be a submission match, or the first one could be a submission match. So, yeah, I like 3 Stages of Hell. But again, NXT delivering as promised every single week right here on the show. Other than that, I don't have anything else to talk about. Michael, do you have anything to piece together?
Should we promote next week's big go home show along with the prediction show?
Big go home show next week. I don't know. Should we do a split? Should we do a prediction show or a go home show and do a separate prediction one for the live YouTube, or should we do both?
I don't know.
Well,
Maybe we should
we'll
let the
keep in touch.
We'll keep in touch. Yeah.
We'll
Or
do a fan poll. We'll do a fan poll. I'll
Fan
put a
poll.
poll out. You guys,
Yes.
you guys tell us. Don't put it in the chat now. Vote in the fan poll. Would you guys like us to do two separate, one go home show review, and then a predictions one separate, or both in the same one? You guys let us know. We'll put the fan poll out on the NHBWP Twitter account. So let us know on there. So yeah, big SummerSlam predictions one next week, guys. We want to do a lot of fan interaction with that. So they may or may not be some prizes. So gonna want to tune in for that. Also, we're gonna open up the Skype lines. Yes, we want you guys to call in and talk wrestling with us, because it's all about the fans here on No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast, and we want to hear you and include you on the podcast and hear what you want to say, and you can discuss with us. We will put a time cap because we can't talk to you guys forever. If we're going to have a lineup of calls, we kind of want to cap it maybe at around 10 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next caller. But we want to give everyone a chance to call in on the show. So we will be doing Skype calls for you guys next week on the prediction show. So add us No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast, all separate words on Skype, and I'll add you to the Skype list, and we'll give you a order number when the show comes around. So big things for next week, guys. You're gonna want to tune in. You're not gonna want to miss it. We're gonna try to make it bigger than what WWE is trying to do for SummerSlam. We're gonna make it bigger than that. We're actually gonna put time and effort into this. It's going to be good.
Yep.
So, other than that, guys, that is going to wrap it up for the Lowdown Show, episode 110, right here on No Holds Barred Wrestling Podcast, your Canadian wrestling podcast that talks about the WWE and NXT and No Holds Barred on anything we say. Pun intended. Remember, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at No Holds Barred WP. You can follow myself at Real Kyle Masters. You can follow my other co-host, Michael Chow, at Michael Chow TV on Twitter as well. You can listen to us on the go, Stitcher Radio, iTunes, and Spreaker. Spreaker is a glorious podcast app available for all Android and Apple devices. You can also listen to previous episodes of the podcast on there as well and chat with us live on the air. You can also, if you're into YouTube, listen to us on YouTube, youtube.com/NHBWR. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon for all notification updates. I'm your host, the self-proclaimed greatest host, Kyle Masters, and I'm always joined by my co-host here on the show. He is the host that runs the West Coast. He is Hollywood Michael Chow.
Thanks, everyone. Last man standing. Hey, no one else. Only co-host, guys.
And we're always reminding you to keep it on the lowdown.
Yee!
You're looking at the real deal now. Gonna kick this sorry ass out on the street.